Computer running slow? Has your machine somehow acquired a life of its own?
It's alive!
Or do you simply desire a deeper and more meaningful connection? Be one with your operating system. It's Arizona's computer guru, Mike Swanson, and his show starts now. Listen in, chat in, and watch live streaming at gurushow.com. Want your voice to be heard? Call in with your questions and riddles. The number is 520-790-2040. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030, KVOI, The Voice.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Guru Show. Hey, check it out, my microphone's working this week.
Woo.
Isn't that nice?
Woo.
Yeah. Right on. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Computer Guru Show. My name's Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. And in case you don't speak at my speed, hi, welcome to the show.
I was just about to ask you, are you like
790-2040 if you'd like to be part of the show.
You applying for an auctioneer job?
No, it just, I'm all about efficiency. Why waste all those valuable microseconds with pauses and making myself auditorily legible?
Have you seen those videos of the auctioneers with rap beats?
Yes, I have.
They're really good.
Somebody sent me one of those in reference to the show one time.
They're fun.
I think I should probably slow down a little bit.
We got to find a copyright-free rap beat that we can put in the background.
Yeah, so we don't want to upset the copyright gods. All right, so we have a large list of stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, hopefully we can get through like a tenth of it.
We'll see. And we have new people behind the glass over there. Got Bob over there. Is that his name, Bob?
It is Bob.
Bob. All right, sorry,
Say hi to
Bob.
Bob.
I didn't mean to forget your name already. It's just who I am. I'm sorry.
It's like I pretend to forget people's names so that they know that I'm above them.
Who's making all the noise over here? Somebody didn't mute. Okay. All right. 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. Comcast has a $70 gigabit deal. You can get gigabit internet from Comcast for $70 a month. But there is a catch. It's only in places where Google Fiber exists. Man, you know what? They were talking about how allowing Google Fiber into their networks was really going to stifle the whole, the creativity and competition.
I hope that people pay attention to this because this just undoes all of their previous arguments.
Right. Comcast is like, we just can't compete with that. There's no way that we can offer that type of internet speed at that price. And Google is taking a loss on this. And so then Google comes out and says, guess what? We're not taking a loss. We're actually making money on this. And by the way, you're full of it.
Comcast was like, oh, wait, it's an effective business model? Oh, that reminds us. We've been working on this the whole time. It's ridiculous.
Oh, by the way, everything said on this show is my opinion and does not necessarily reflect the radio station or Computer Guru. Please don't sue me. Comcast, what? Come on now. You can do this.
They need to be called out on this because it's totally contrary to everything that they've ever said about gigabit internet. They've always said that it's not feasible. They don't have the infrastructure.
Users don't want it. That was the one that killed me. Our users don't want gigabit internet.
I want to see the photographs of the massive reconstruction that they clearly had to do in order to offer this.
Right.
No, in reality, they were just like typing in a number, and they're like, okay, now everybody has gigabit.
They plugged in an extra wire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Now everybody has gigabit.
I want gigabit. I have fast internet, but I pay twice that price. And it's not that fast. Not gigabit.
All right, so just to not... We don't want to leave anybody out here.
Yeah.
So, Cox, let's go ahead and have a conversation, you and I, right here on the radio. Okay. Because you provide internet for 2 of my 3 locations. And so we need to have this conversation. What the heck are you doing, man? Why are you charging me like close to $600 a month for internet for my offices just because it's a business account when clearly you can do this for cheaper? Clearly.
Cox is like, we're trying to be neutral in this whole thing, so if Comcast and Google could just kill each other first and then we'll step in, that'd be great.
You know that fiber's going to win.
Of course it is. You know what? Actually, what I'm waiting for is for Google to come out with like terabit internet and just be like, all right, you guys can have your gigabit.
All right. So Google's response actually is something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where Google is intending to roll out a nationwide high-speed wireless network everywhere to totally get around all of this infrastructure lawsuit stuff that they're coming up against. They want to provide internet for everyone at a reasonable rate.
Now, I mean, honestly, I'd still rather have lined internet,
Yeah, true.
but most people are going to be able to use that and appreciate it.
Well, I think it does exactly the thing that I wish it would do, which is to completely devalue the internet that you're paying for at your house in most cases. Right? There are some people that absolutely require the low latency and they want to be wired all the time. But if you can take some of that value away and shift enough people off of it, it's going to force the cable companies into saying, okay, let's stop just, I don't know, raping everybody with our rates. You know.
Do you know what I've always wondered about, though, with those blanket Wi-Fi solutions? What's that going to do as far as interference with private Wi-Fi networks goes?
They're using the TV spectrum.
Oh, so it won't even interfere at all?
Yeah, it won't even interfere.
Okay.
So they bought most of the UHF spectrum.
Oh, now
Google did.
Now that it's not being used?
Right, now that the TV spectrum is off air and everybody's gone digital, they bought a majority of that spectrum. And so obviously they've been thinking about this a while. They bought that stuff years ago.
So are we going to be able to pirate the Wi-Fis with a UHF antenna?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're going to offer for free, so I don't know how much pirating you're going to have to do.
No, piracy for life, bro.
Okay.
Once again, the views expressed on this show do not reflect that of the radio station or as a computer guru.
That's right, and don't sue me.
Hey, I'm not on the clock. It's all good.
You can still say something to get me sued.
Not on the clock. Wow.
I'm not getting paid, so it's fair use.
Pretty sure that's how that works. So
That just happened.
Oh, my goodness.
Next week on Computer Guru, we got sued.
Yeah, next week on Computer Guru, you're going to see the footage that I take of my cell phone of Rob being dragged out of the office by federal agents.
I'm not here on the show next week, so I don't ever have to deal with the fallout of the things that I say.
Except for the week after.
No, you've forgotten about it by then.
You forgot about it.
That's why I have that every other week plan.
Now that we're totally derailed.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I do.
Thanks, Rob.
By the way, I'm in the show chat this week, so you guys should go get in there.
You are in the show?
I am.
Yes.
Nice.
And then I can say ridiculous things to you, not only over the radio, but also in text form.
Right, and there's very little censorship that happens.
Yeah.
As we talked about last week, I don't go into the chat all that often
Usually after the first break, though.
because it's a huge distraction, right? Because there's... I blame your husband, actually.
Go
not even-
ahead.
He's not even in here.
Is he not?
No.
That's because he's actually watching the kids right now.
Oh, weird.
He's here
Parental
in
responsibility.
Arizona. He's not in California like he usually is.
All right, so Google's working on a new operating system. Speaking of Google,
Yeah, I read about this. It was actually it was Chris who told us about this.
thanks, Chris.
Shout out.
Hashtag thank you, Chris.
So the weird thing, though, is that it's not exactly clear what this OS is going to be for.
Yeah, don't they already have one though?
Well, there's Chrome OS, but that's like a web browser.
Yeah, but why fuchsia? It's such an ugly color. It really is.
This is why we have a girl on the show, so that she can complain about the aesthetics of the name.
I didn't even know that was is that a color? I thought they just made
Yeah,
that
it's
up.
like a
No.
pinkish purple, and it's not very pretty in my opinion.
Maybe they meant fusion.
So purple then?
I would dig fusion, but fuchsia? Why go
Well,
with the color?
they don't
Don't
want to get into
colors.
a lawsuit with Ford.
Yeah.
It looks like this OS is mostly going to be used for embedded systems. So I don't know. I wish that they would release a real like publicly useful OS that's better than Chrome OS.
Yeah, I really wish, especially with all of the Microsoft stuff lately, that there would be some type of reasonable operating system that could compete. The problem is that I imagine that is like a copyright minefield.
Well, I know that another story that we have on here is regarding Microsoft integrating PowerShell with Linux. So maybe there's possibilities for running Microsoft software on Linux in the future, since they had to get .NET Framework working for that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's one of those double-edged sword things, right? Is it going to turn? Are they going to turn Linux into the same disaster that Microsoft is.
I'd like to see them, I'd like to see some real compatibility for Windows stuff with Linux, because no matter what anybody says, like just for the end user, Linux is rarely a replacement for Windows.
Right.
I love Linux, I love it, but it's all open source software, so none of it is as good as the Windows equivalent. Obviously, that's my opinion, but like I definitely couldn't use it in the office. I couldn't.
Right. Well, I'm working on putting together a replacement system for Windows, right, via Linux, to come up with a compatibility strategy that works to replace most everything.
Now, there's Wine in Linux, which is a Windows emulator, and lets you run most Windows software, but it's buggy when the software gets really big and heavy.
Right. Memory management in Wine is not all that great.
Yeah.
So that's true in life, too, by the way. Sorry. But
that's good.
Wine is great for little programs, right? You want to run Minesweeper? Perfect. All right. You want to run the entire Office suite? Not so much.
It has gotten better, but it's still not there yet.
Well, we'll see how it gets. Let's take a moment to mention our sponsor, which is Perfection Auto Works. So you can visit their new website at perfectionautoworks.com. We've made it through, half the summer now?
It's only half?
It's only half. Yeah.
It's the Wednesday of the season.
It's still going to be hot for another couple of months.
That's true.
Yeah. Yet you should go in there and get your 26-point inspection for free. And we're gonna get to the point where you need to perhaps install one of those pack rat lights that they have over there. Those things are pretty cool, actually. Went over there and checked one of those out.
If you don't get one of those, you might find that some pack rats installed themselves.
That's right. And we should look up one of the previous employees and have David come over here and tell us about it, because he had his car attacked twice.
Hordes of pack rats.
Hordes of pack rats. You're listening to the Computer Guru Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Your computer guru, Mike Swanson, is here to help you tame that beast of a machine. Join the chat right now at gurushow.com or call in. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOY, The Voice. Your technology guru, Mike Swanson, is answering all your questions one by one.
Yes, science!
So chime in with yours. The website is gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show. My name is Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. 790-2040. That's 520-790-2040. If you would like to ask a question, much like Mr. Gary there. Hello, Gary. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I hope you all are doing well and had your coffee. My question is, with the contract between the U.S. government and the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers located in California, they're ending it on September 30th. Are we due for an October surprise? Do you have any knowledge of the impact that will have for the future of our Internet?
There's a bit of debate going on here. Even in the studio, there's a little bit of debate about that. So ICANN handles the naming registration and basically is the telephone book of the Internet, where it converts names to numbers. And it controls global DNS. It handles all of the TLD, or the top level domains. So they manage all of that stuff, for those who don't know what this is about. Our contract is coming up, and it looks like it's going to be handed off to another country for management. Now, that's sort of a misnomer in the first place, because it's still committee managed and it's mostly run by us still, regardless of that, wherever it's physically located. And I'm not terribly comfortable with the idea of ICANN going to another country like China or Russia or Syria or one of these other places that it potentially could, although that's fairly unlikely. But Rob doesn't seem to see a whole lot of problem with it.
I just personally don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as most people are making it out to be. I think that the average user will probably notice no difference. And if anything drastic were to happen, say China got control of it and started trying to censor everything, I think it would pretty quickly get wrested from their control and restored. The other thing is that, although domains are useful, they're not the only way to access a website.
Right, and we could end up seeing some sort of a competing DNS service, much like the Tor network uses. So there could be the opportunity here for separation of primary internet from some sort of secondary internet.
That was my second question in terms of antitrust litigation. Are they going to bust it up like Southern Bell, to where they and other companies were busted up in '94?
Well, regardless of how you deal with that type of thing, the way the internet works, that would be really, really difficult as far as to separate those into individual entities as far as DNS control is concerned.
Okay.
So the way that DNS works is, in fact, DNS works so well that you don't even notice it. And that's really the whole point of this, is that you can go to any computer anywhere in the world running any operating system, or just any connected machine uses the exact same feature and sets of technology to find where it's going on the internet, and it is so seamless that you never even have to think about it. So if we start seeing a problem, like let's say that China does have control over ICANN and decides that they just want to, they want to block out the world. Having control over ICANN would allow them some leverage and some ability to do that. However, if you were to try to wrest control away from that and say, well, we're gonna go ahead and point everything back at our own servers, we're going to take control over the DNS servers, you would see such a degradation in the quality of your ability to get online that it would become very, very obvious of what's going on. To me, I don't like the idea of having to worry about whether or not where it's going is necessarily a good place.
I think that some of my concerns, though, stem from the U.S. government's, the way that we treat the internet as it is right now anyway, because it doesn't seem like the government, likes the internet very much. But regarding, DNS in general, Google has such a large array of DNS servers that it wouldn't surprise me that if there was censorship going on, they would just be switch to our DNS.
True, right. They still require the root level domains, root level DNS. So, even Google's DNS servers rely on the root servers. So the root servers are really what we're talking about here. And interestingly enough, because there have been some problems in the past with root servers being hacked, there have been some issues with China manipulating root servers, that things have been set up in such a way over the last 5 or 6 years since the last real incident of that, that DNS servers are completely unmanned, right? There's no human intervention with DNS. So it's one of these things where we don't really know what's going to happen. Can the DNS servers themselves protect themselves enough from the outside world? And is there a reset if we need it?
I just think it seems a bit unlikely that control would be given to a country that's obviously going to censor the entire internet if they have that type of control.
Well, that is what I was thinking, that the California-based company would retain their property, intellectual property, but it would go up to the highest bidder if they wished. Is it going to be taken out of their hands, or are they allowed to maintain it?
There's a whole lot of unknown still when it comes to this. It's a lot of speculation. And to tell you the truth, I don't know either. I don't have a clear idea of what is going to happen and there's so many potentials that it makes it it's a little frightening to think about. But at the same time, there's also a potential of nothing. So it's entirely possible that there will be no discernible change in what's going on here. I
think that's, to me, that seems likely, especially considering that the vast majority of people didn't even know what ICANN was until this story came out, I think it's unlikely that the end user is going to notice a huge difference. I could be wrong, but I tend to take the more moderate approach to stuff like this.
Right. I think that in worst case scenario, right, that ICANN gets handed off to somewhere, and it's somewhere maybe even neutral, and bad stuff happens. Right. Let's say that the entire TLDs disappear, or large swaths of the internet become censored. I believe that there's going to be some type of a revert plan, right? To be able to say, okay, everybody go, we're going to just reset everything back to normal here. And then lesson learned on a couple of different levels. But for right now, I don't like the idea of it being outside of the U.S. control. Rob doesn't really care. I just don't like the idea of it just because even though our government tends to say, oh yeah, we have First Amendment rights and we're all about free speech unless you're on the internet. There are other countries that are demonstrably worse at the whole hate speech thing about censoring their citizens. I mean, even all of the EU countries are like, and Australia now will throw you in jail for saying something unkind about another religion. So I think the idea of things being put into the hands of people who are subscribing to the idea of dissent being hate speech is not necessarily a good idea.
Well, thank you for the response, and I'm going to be cautiously awaiting that day.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. You know, if the show goes off air because of it, then we know that that was the wrong idea.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate the call, Gary.
I guess ultimately the reason I'm not too concerned about it is because time and again recently we've seen governments trying to control the internet and failing every time. You know, so I don't think that even in light of like worst case scenario with ICANN, it wouldn't, I mean, you just go directly to the IP, you know. It wouldn't stop anything necessarily. That's how people did it before anyway.
Right, you'd probably end up with you know what? Maybe Dex is really happy about this, right? Because this would bring back the Yellow Pages, right? That's their only way to keep printing books, right? They could just have a list of websites. Oh, I want to go over to American Airlines. Here's their IP address.
I mean, as long as your browser has a bookmark feature, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Well, no, it's because resolution would stall. I mean, if you're bookmarking IPs,
that's what I mean.
Yeah. But name resolution would be,
or just search engines in general.
That's true, unless you can't get to the search engine.
That's true.
How many IP addresses?
So you only
Google
have to remember one, just Google's.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think because of the way the internet has been created, there is a large degree of people wanting to assert dominance over the internet where it really can't be asserted.
And that's kind of what I mean. Like, I tend to see the internet as this unstoppable force, you know, that no matter what government tries to control it, it's just, this is the way that the future is going, no matter what.
I agree. Look at that. Look at the timing on that, man.
It's perfect. Until we referenced it.
Thanks for listening to Computer Guru Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Whether you're dealing with hardware installation or, heaven forbid, a virus,
No!
Mike Swanson is answering all your questions one by one. So call in or chat in with yours. The website, gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030 KVOY The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOI The Voice.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show, 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. That's 520-790-2040. Let's talk to Bill. Hello, Bill. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for taking my call.
What can I do for you today?
My home network router crashed today, and the internet connection works fine if I do it directly, but nothing else will work on the network. So anyway, I wonder if you could give me some general pointers, because I'd like to go find what I can today and see if I can get it running again. So could you? I'm looking, in the 100 to 150, I guess, is sort of the place where most of them are these days. Something in that price range. I like a small footprint if possible. Some of these things may be mutually exclusive. I like ease of setup, and I'd like to have a pretty good distance to get me through a couple of partitions to the other end of the house. Anyway, can you give me some general, perhaps, preferable brands and things to look for, to either look for or to avoid that I might find at Southwest or Costco or someplace around town after the show today?
Go to SWS, just because they're going to be the most reasonable price for what you can get. There's a Asus router there. It's white. It's the RTN16, I think. And it's in your price range. It's highly reliable. It's easy to set up, and it works. It works well.
Yeah, I think that might be the one I'm looking at on my desktop here that I got there, and it's white, and,
Yep.
and for some reason it's just died today. I mean, the light's
How old is
on, but I think, I don't know if it's within the warranty or not, but
Typically, those are going to last. Routers are typically going to last you around 5 years.
yeah, I know this one is nowhere near that. Maybe a year.
So, are you sure that router's dead?
What I did was I tried turning everything off and recycling it. The internet, what am I looking for here? From Cox works fine. If I put a direct connection to a computer, the internet works fine. All three networks that were working, the 2 laptops and a desktop were working fine, other than my wife's was getting a little cranky in the last week or two. And then today nothing works, and the little wireless light doesn't show at all. The other lights, the power light will show, and the various cable lights will show, but each computer says no signal, and the wireless light doesn't show.
Do you have any that are wired? Any machines?
Yep, that'd be the desktop HP, and that doesn't have a connection either.
Okay, so it sounds to me like it reset itself. By default, the wireless is off on a lot of routers if it gets factory reset to make you go through the whole provisioning process.
Uh-huh.
I think the N16s, though, it's on. Have you tried a factory reset on that? Hold down the reset button?
I haven't tried a factory reset just because, since it works fine on cable, and since the laptop, the desktop, isn't wireless, I thought it meant that it...
Well, you can save yourself $100 by trying a factory reset on it.
Okay, so that's the little red button in back?
Yeah, a little red button. You're going to hold it down while the router's on. You're going to hold it down for 15 seconds, just to be safe.
Do I keep everything else hooked up while I do it?
Sure. And then once you do that, it's going to reset everything back to factory. And if the router's still good, then it should allow you to log in to the default IP, which is 1.1 on Asus routers. So 192.168.1.1. And
tell me that a little more slowly.
Sure. 192.168.1.1. And that's the default for Asus routers.
Right, got it.
And the admin username and password is admin and admin. And that should let you in to reprogram it. Now, if that doesn't work, then yeah, it's probably toast. Although that's a good router. They're very reliable routers. I use one of those. The other one is I don't like the sort of middle of the road Netgear routers, but when you get up into the upper end where you get closer to the $200 range, Netgear has some awesome routers, but not in the under $200 range.
Okay.
So
that's good info. I'll try that, but I just thought I'd catch it while I could because it, looked dead to me, but what do I know? Okay, I'm going to try that, Mike, and I appreciate your help and your show.
Thanks for the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for saying nice things about me. I feel better now. I feel better about myself.
I'm doing some router shopping as well.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you getting?
I got to get something dual band.
Oh, yeah?
I'm thinking a nice Asus dual band router.
I saw one the other day. It was a quad band router. The thing was huge, but it's $400.
Quad band?
Yeah, it's just like, come on.
Is that just used for denial of Wi-Fi to everyone else?
That's right. Are you tired of having neighbors with Wi-Fi? Take their Wi-Fi away from them with our new quad band router.
That's great.
Okay, Gawker. Let's talk about Gawker for a minute.
Just warms my heart.
I saw so many tweets about people being upset, people in media being upset because Gawker had been taken down by a lawsuit. They're just like, yeah, it just takes a billionaire to silence a news organization.
If anybody seriously believes Gawker is a news organization, they need to read what news means in the dictionary.
There are a lot of people who truly believe that Gawker is media, as far as like press.
One of my few problems, like major problems with the internet as it is today, is this idea that anyone can just start a website and call it a news organization with no credentials, no journalistic integrity.
Well, it's the integrity part that bothers me, right? The not having integrity.
I mean, it's just absurd.
Have you ever watched The Young Turks?
It actually makes me angry because Gawker is read, or I should say was read, by like millions of people who take the word that they give as gospel.
It's still read.
And
for a week.
For a little bit longer. And the problem is that Gawker doesn't fact check anything.
All right, so Gawker.com is a fairly large collection of websites, Gawker being the largest of them. And they proclaim to be a journalism website.
Yeah, and they own sub-blogs like Lifehacker and Kotaku and Jezebel. Lots. There's like
lots
dozens.
Of terrible websites.
Lifehacker used to be good.
And
so did Kotaku.
Yeah.
So they they have no integrity and haven't for a long time. They're effectively TMZ is what they are. I mean, it's mostly gossip and
National Enquirer.
Yeah, it's things that are primarily made up, and there may be kernels of truth in there, and in fact most of them are based on something that is true,
like a different blog article.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's convincing enough that you see people post this on Facebook all the time, where you'll see, like, especially people that are sort of fringy, right? They'll be posting stuff on Facebook from Jezebel.com or from Gawker themselves, and they're like, look, I told you this is the way the world worked.
Well, and here's the problem. This is what you get when you have a bunch of people that like to share stuff on Facebook or whatever and take everything at face value because all they do is read the headline and the first couple sentences, and that's it.
I mean, if that.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's headline only.
Yep.
There's zero fact-checking going on.
And I forgot what the percentage was, but most people get their news from Facebook now. So this is what you get when you have a social network that is the main source of, quote, news items shared by people who only read the headlines, which are all clickbait.
So you're telling me that most people get their news from Facebook?
Most people do get their news from Facebook now.
Oh, that's
painful.
It. Out of here. Can't handle it anymore. I'm done.
I think we should go to break.
Might just rage quit.
He quits.
Is it break time?
Yeah, I think it might
Facebook?
be. Yes.
What?
Most people get their news from Facebook.
It's absurd. But however, what we were talking about in terms of Gawker is that they've been purchased and shut down effectively.
Well, there was a reason for that.
Because they suck.
They're terrible.
Because they broke the law.
Yeah.
And this is the part that everyone seems to be overlooking. So if you're not familiar with the Gawker case, Hulk Hogan basically killed them.
Yeah.
He sued them into oblivion.
Right.
Because he is Hulk Hogan.
For good reason, honestly, though.
Right, because you can't stop the Hulkster.
Right.
All right, so there was a sex tape involved.
Well, it's just great too. It's so sweet in terms of vengeance, because Gawker is the same website that was like, people shouldn't look at leaked celebrity nude photos and all of that stuff. Like, they published a whole set of articles about how terrible it is to objectify those celebrities who had their nudes leaked, and then they published the Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Right. Oh, and there's some other things that they did as well. There was a girl that they posted a video that was revenge porn. Right, where her ex had posted this video to Gawker. Gawker ran it and hosted it, and she contacted them and said, "Hey, this is me, and I would prefer that this not be on your website." And they basically told her to pound sand. They were like, "Nope, you shouldn't have made this video in the first place." And there were a lot of people that were calling for Gawker to be shut down years ago, especially during the Gamergate stuff, where Gawker was very much in the anti-Gamergate camp, and they were basically saying, yeah, this whole industry is dead, and they were really pushing an agenda. And And, well, Gamergate's still around, and Gawker is not. So basically, Hulk Hogan sued them because they were hosting this sex tape on their site and refused to take it down. And Hulk Hogan said, well, I'm going to go ahead and sue you guys over this.
To the tune of like $140 million.
And he won dramatically.
And then that happened to be like the value of Gawker, so they were bankrupt.
Yep, and so it's been sold off now. Gawker ceases to exist, I believe, next Wednesday.
And it is now owned by Univision.
Right, so Univision now owns them.
Univision.
And all their sub-sites to go along with it. So, well, we'll see what happens. I think that the Gawker name is probably dead, though.
I hope so.
We'll see if they revive it, but I don't know. Does it translate to
I
Spanish?
think that they killed their own brand name.
Yeah, and the CEO, the guy that ran the place, he was so confident that they were going to win that lawsuit that he really didn't prepare anything. He had a bunch of his own finances tied up into it. And so basically, this guy lost not only his main source of income, but he lost a bunch of his own assets as well because, well, he was cocky about it.
He's also in a non-compete agreement, so he's not allowed to start another website like Gawker for a while. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Justice.
There's such internet justice is very interesting, and I appreciate it.
It's very karmic.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. Give us a call, 790-2040.
Computer troubles? Need some advice? Call in now. Mike Swanson will be back after these messages. The Computer Guru Show, AM 1030, KVOY, The Voice.
Welcome back. Wait a minute. Okay, there I am. Sorry. It's slow on the pods over there. 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. Hurry up, Kent. Hurry up. let's take a phone call over here. Let's talk to Alan. Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
How can I help you?
I have a mid-2010 MacBook Pro. The hard drive is conked out, and so my daughter has gotten a new MacBook Pro, and I got her hang me up. So I was wondering, just to play around with it, I was wondering if I could boot this thing up from a USB stick.
You could, yeah. You can also boot it straight off the internet.
Oh.
So Macs give you the option, like if you put a new drive in that thing, and I recommend a nice solid state drive. If you turn it on and it can't find any operating system, it'll give you the option to, if it can connect to a Wi-Fi network or if it's plugged in, it will then just download the Mac OS install and run it.
It runs it from RAM then?
Yeah, it runs it straight off the internet.
Wow. Huh. Well, if it's that easy. I'm not a Mac guy, and that's kind of why I just wanted to fool around with this thing a little bit.
It's super easy. Put a new drive in that thing. It's one of the metal Macs, right? Not a plastic one?
It is plastic.
Ugh, those are harder to get into. Considerably harder to get into.
Oh, well, I've been into the back. It's just got 3 little tiny little screws, and the bottom pops off.
Okay, and did you find the hard drive?
Yeah, it's right in front.
Okay.
So maybe it is metal. I don't know, but it's right there. It's right next to the battery that everything has to pull out.
Okay, good. All right, so if you replace the drive, put a new drive in there, then yeah, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to be like, I can't find an operating system. How would you like to connect to the internet to download the right version?
Yeah. Well, what I was hoping to do is not buy a new hard drive. I mean, it's an old PC Mac, and so just take one of my USB sticks and plug it in and see if will it go out to the internet in the same manner, and then plug from that.
You could install you don't want to do that. You have no idea how unreasonably slow that would be.
Well, maybe that should have been my first question then.
Right. So hard drives are cheap. Right. You can get a solid state hard drive for they're often on sale at Best Buy for like $40 for a decent solid state. So
100 gig or something of that order?
240 gig, I believe.
Holy cow. Okay.
So they're often on sale. Typically, you're looking at about, on average, you're going to be looking for a 240 gig solid state. You're going to $80 to $100 for the drive when it's not on sale. Even so, you've got a Mac that's going to last you another 5 years for $80 to $100 with the hardware.
Yeah.
So I would say it's inexpensive enough to do. If you try to run off of like some sort of removable media, it'll work, but it'll be really, really slow.
Okay.
Like you might pick up the computer and throw it on the floor. That kind of slow. So yeah, just go ahead and get a drive.
All right, I will do that.
All right. Thanks for your call, Alan. I appreciate it.
I appreciate the advice. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, you don't want to run off of external media like that.
It's no bueno.
I appreciate that you guys are typing quieter now. Thank you very much.
I can't restrain the fury that is my fingers on a keyboard, Mike.
All right, let's go ahead and talk to Charles. Hello, Charles. How are you?
Talking to you. Happy Saturday. I have a quick question about solid-state hard drives.
Sure.
Could I that Lenovo ThinkPad 30 that I just got? Is there a chance I could replace the hard? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but could I prophylactically replace that hard drive with a solid-state hard drive and improve the speed of the laptop, or
Yes.
would that computer not take it?
Yeah, basically anything that is Windows 7 or newer in the PC world will take it and be very happy.
So is that something a user could do himself, or is replacing a hard drive too technical an operation?
On the PCs, it's a little more difficult than it is with the Macs. So, yeah, you could if you make an appropriate backup and you then go through the whole restore process. Yes, you could do that. Or if,
What do you charge? What do you charge to do it? To put one of those in that machine?
if typically you're looking at around about $150 in labor, right?
Okay.
For us to clone the drive, make everything happen.
And if there's nothing on that drive now,
If there's nothing on it other than Windows,
Right.
then you could, like, what version of Windows are we talking about?
7 Professional was on it.
Do you have the disk, the install disk?
No, it didn't come with one.
Okay. Is it? And if it's currently running, it's a Lenovo machine.
Right.
There's an application on there to generate install media. So you could build your own install media. You could replace the drive and then install off of that media, and that would work. And then you don't need me. I mean,
Well,
believe me, I'm
I don't
okay
know.
with you giving me money, but at the same time, you could do it yourself.
I appreciate the fact that you're willing to forego money to see people get a good deal. But on something like that with a computer, just like with a car, you want to take it to the professional who's going to do it right.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some things I would do. If it was a bookshelf, I'd put that up myself because I got a level and I can make it right, or within 1 degree of bubble so that no one can see it isn't right. But with a computer that you're going to trust for your data and use to make a living, it might be smarter to use the professional.
Well, I appreciate that plug. Thank you very much, Charles.
Yep. Have a good day.
Thank you. Now, we're going to take a moment to mention our sponsors because we're at the end of the show here, or at least the first hour of the show. So, Perfection Auto Works, you can go to perfectionautoworks.com. I totally have to separate you guys. Let's go.
You can't separate chat, bro.
There is no distance on the internet. And you, our lovely listeners, have the opportunity to help sponsor the show. In case you don't know, we offer a way that you can donate as little as $1 a month to help keep the show in the air because there are costs involved with doing this. Mm-hmm. You can go to patreon.com/Guru Show, or just go to gurushow.com, and there are links there where you can click on the link and give us $1.
Or pay more and make me say something.
Right. Or if you want to make Tara say anything that you want.
FCC friendly, please.
FCC friendly, yeah. There's an option for that as well. So go ahead and check it out. You can also email us, radio@azcomputerguru.com. And we'll be back after these messages with the second hour of the Computer Guru Show. Hello and welcome back to the Computer Guru Show. My name's Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. 790-2040 if you'd like to get in on this last hour of tech support.
You know, I still can't believe that the show would have been over on our previous iteration. That's crazy.
Right.
2 hours. That's what we need.
It used to go so fast.
Yeah, you can never talk about anything really.
Even when we'd have no callers, though, I mean, we'd get through maybe 5 things.
If
6
that.
things, if that.
And if Mike went on a rant, that was it.
Oh yeah, it was over.
It was
just rant
everybody
day.
leaves whenever I get on my rants.
We're
Well,
just
people
like,
like
all right.
the rants. It just took up the whole show.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
don't know if I've just been less angry lately or...
Whatever life changes you're making to become more zen, I need you to stop because we need those internet views.
All right, T-Mobile is getting rid of their tiered internet packages. They're saying that you can now have unlimited data.
I don't understand this rubber band with unlimited data that everybody's doing. You know, because it used to be unlimited, and then they went to tiered plans, and now it's back to unlimited again.
Well, T-Mobile is the cell phone carrier with ripped jeans and a mohawk, right? It's the one that just really wants to stand out.
I see them more as like a tap-out shirt and a Monster Energy drink, but maybe that's just me.
Maybe I think that's more Sprint, really, but the T-Mobile, they're always going against the grain. Aren't they the uncarrier? Is that what they call themselves?
Yeah.
Now there's a bit of a limitation on that, though. It's unlimited until you hit your limit. So there seems to be a bit of a...
So it's the standard unlimited thing where you get 10 gigs or something, and then if you hit that, you get throttled, right?
23 gigs.
That's still pretty good, though.
I think that was it 32 gigs? I could have totally done that. 26 gigabytes is what it is.
I've got Cricket, and it's effectively the same thing, except it's 10 gigs.
Right.
But you might as well not have internet once you hit that cap.
Right, because it's dial-up.
Yeah.
It goes to 100K, I think.
It's absurd.
So they're saying you get 4G up to 26 gigabytes of data, which they said 3% of their customers hit that limit. So now that's 3% of people who are willing to pay for that right now. So I imagine that once they just say, okay, everyone can have all the internet they want, that number would go up considerably.
Yeah, because they really should be looking at how many people hit their limit on the lower tiers.
Right. So how many people get within 5% of their limit
And then just stop.
Right, and then quit. So as an example, I use my unlimited hotspot on my phone all day. I average right now 60 gigabytes a month on my phone.
You're still with Verizon, of course, right?
The Verizon I'm willing to pay a whole lot of money to buy new phones, grandfathered unlimited plan.
The Verizon white knuckle plan.
Right. When I go to the Verizon store and they type in my number, their screen actually has red blinking
It's
lines.
like, do whatever you can to deactivate this customer.
That's right. Please, at some point, it's going to stop saying things like, you should offer this person a new phone with a new data plan. And it's going to say something like, take this guy out back and beat him until he decides not to have this plan anymore.
The Verizon waterboarding plan.
That's right. You guys are going to need some bigger dudes. Anyway, there's a lot of the whole data plan thing is ridiculous, right? T-Mobile has always been this. They've been on the we support net neutrality, but they're saying that they're going to throttle your package so that you can only get 480p resolution on video with this unlimited plan.
I don't know. I mean, 480 on a phone is all right, I mean, until we get our 4K phones next year,
right?
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal either.
And, I seriously doubt that the people who are out there watching videos on their phone while they're on the go are like, why isn't this in stunning HD clarity?
Well, that's until they, put on their headsets, right? Their VR headsets. And you're going to be able to see those resolution differences at that 4K resolution.
That's true.
Get 4K phones. I don't know. I don't think it's a huge deal. And they offer an upgrade. For an extra $25, you can have whatever resolution you want. And so people are getting bent out of shape on the net neutrality front, saying, well, you're throttling a specific type of data.
Right.
And the truth is that we're talking about wireless. There are limitations on how much bandwidth you can push over wireless before you have a problem. And so I'm thinking that there's a certain amount of, this could work. And it's not like they're saying that that they're going to basically tier the internet here. They're just saying, hey, we want to make sure that you have a reasonable experience. You can have unlimited data, which is more data than most anybody else provides. And if you want to do it at a higher resolution than your phone actually supports in most cases, then there's going to be a fee for that.
And honestly, like, my views on that whole kind of throttling thing change when it comes to mobile, because I just don't think that HD is anywhere near as important on a mobile device yet. It's like a 5-inch screen. Like, you're going to hold it like 3 inches from your face so that it looks like a giant TV.
Some people do that. I've seen people do that.
Pretty sure that's like bad for you.
Yeah. It's really
not in VR though. That somehow makes it better. Pretty sure. I'm banking on them having like really good eye surgery or optics, in the future for when I destroy my eyes.
Well, Google's working on that contact lens, so you'll be able to have a contact with heads-up display, effectively.
That thing scares me though, because they like cut your actual cornea out and replace it with their own
a lens replacement.
Yeah,
I'd still be down.
Not first.
It's because you're blind.
Yeah, you don't have as much to lose.
This is true.
It's all up from here.
Pretty much,
The future's looking bright, finally.
I can see clearly now.
I always tell people not to adopt the first gen of any new invention. This is especially true when it comes to, like, cybernetics.
Right.
Wait for them to patch it,
That's right. You gotta wait for the first service pack before you start doing body modification with technology.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Patch Tuesday on your eyes is not going to be so good.
Well, at least Microsoft's not in control of the updates.
That's true.
Right? The Google updates tend to be a little more stable.
You wake up in the morning and it's like, installing update 1 of 1000. Please do not blink.
You will not be able to see out of your left eye until 11:30 a.m. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, nope, not doing it. You can do it all day long just because you genuinely can't see anyway.
Yeah, well.
But I could not do it.
Well, my vision is going south anyway, so eventually I'm going to be like Tara.
It's nice to know that you're the benchmark here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just can't see. I
can't. I mean, it's not that bad. I think maybe
she made it here.
It's corrected with glasses, so it's still not.
That's like when poor people say money isn't everything.
Money isn't everything.
It's a lot of things, though.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I guess I only have 3 gigs for my plan.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you even survive?
Peasant.
I don't leave my house that often, remember? I drop off my kids, I go home. God. I go pick them up, I go home.
Yeah, do you still have like a rotary phone?
No, but I don't have a contract. I haven't had a contract phone for...
I have 3 gigs of data on my rotary
9. I've only used half of it during the month.
It's like one episode of a show on Netflix.
I don't watch I can't install Netflix on my phone.
I don't even know you anymore.
I don't have enough data. I don't have enough room. I have all my socials on there.
She really has 33 gig, but she just sees 3.
That's right.
It's 3. I used 1,325 megabytes.
Oh, my goodness. How? I don't get it.
But I'm not on a contract either. I haven't had a contract in a decade.
Me either.
At all.
Yeah, I'm not on contract.
So, it's just pay as you go.
Huh.
It's Virgin Mobile.
Well, what else do we got?
It is what it is.
I wanted to do the NSA thing, but I think we're going to do it after the break. Let's go ahead and talk to Mark, though. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hey, thanks for your great show, and I'm really glad you are on for 2 hours, so we just got to bump you up to 3 now.
Eventually, we will be a 24-hour per day show.
We'll be the next Gawker.
And as far as being blind, you guys have nothing on me. At 21,000, all the difficulties come with that.
Wow.
So anyway, so I can get corrected, but then I have to take my glasses off to see anything, really small and up close.
Interesting.
and both eyes are not the same.
I feel for you guys because I still have like 2015. I just don't.
Yeah, 2015. Okay.
Do you even 2016, bro?
And so if you're like 2100, if the guy who says his eye is going away or whatever, your eyesight is deteriorating.
No, when I got tested, I went down to the optometrist a long time ago, and I was tested at 2010 left, 2015 right, and he said come back in 20 years. And I said okay. So my eyeballs still work for right now.
All right, that's good. So anyway, I'm going to get. I think I'll bite the bullet and get the Note 7. And everybody tells me I'm crazy for spending $900 on a phone, and which I probably am. So now it's a matter of the service and looking at these various services. And you've been a proponent for the Verizon plans, Verizon service.
Correct.
And
because I like it when my conversations actually happen over the phone.
Yeah. Okay. And so anyway, I'm looking at they've dropped their plans from 3 gigabytes to 2 gigabytes for their and everything increments I think in 2 gigabyte amounts. And I'm just wondering, it seems to me 2 gigabytes is like nothing. Although I don't have a high phone usage, I'm going to port my home phone onto this.
I'm thinking that a minimum of 4 gigabytes is probably decent for most people.
They have this program where you start out with a small one, and you can always increase as you need to, and you don't lose your minutes or whatever. You don't use your gigabytes.
Right. So what's the question?
So anyway, I was wondering, you were talking about another, T-Mobile and various other things. You're still a proponent for Verizon?
At least in the local area, yes. Just because if you talk to anyone that has any other carrier, you will rapidly find out that all the other carriers, especially Sprint, are like the every other word plan, because all you're going to hear is every other word that they say.
Yeah.
Verizon has the best coverage in the area, so if you want your phone to work, then that's pretty much your only real option.
Okay. And really, I'm probably going to use it more as a handheld computer.
Right. So you'd start with a 4 gig plan, work your way up if you need to. Their plans have come down dramatically in price over the last year or so. So the data plans are fairly reasonable, and they offer up to, I think I saw a 500 gig plan on the Verizon website the other day. So of course you got to be willing to drop $700 a month for that. But the idea that you can get as much data as you want is fairly nice, and believe me that Verizon has the fastest 4G in the area, whereas I'll do speed tests and typically see 70 megabit per second transfer rates or more on my phone.
And of course this is not HD, I don't believe.
Well, listen, the Note is as far as the screen is. The Note,
it is. Okay.
It's got a very nice screen.
The Note 7 has pretty much the best screen right now.
Yeah, okay. And which is, for a blind person like me, I need something like that.
Yeah.
If I'm even going to have a chance of being able to use it.
You got to get one of those VR headsets that we were talking about.
There's a new Gear VR specifically for the Note 7.
Okay, good. So that's the other plan, is to get set up with all that, and I can just walk around with maybe dual vision. I'm looking at whatever the VR is, plus maybe some sort of a periscope type of a function with it.
There you go.
And get another headset for the back, and I can have 360.
That's right.
Simultaneous.
You have augmented reality.
Yes, super augmented reality.
There you go. Well, thanks.
And okay, well, thanks for your info.
Thank you for the call, Mark. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Talk to you later. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more of the Computer Guru Show and your phone calls at 790-2040.
Your computer guru, Mike Swanson, is here to help you tame that beast of a machine. Join the chat right now at gurushow.com or call in. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOY, The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show, 790-2040. Let's start with a phone call. We'll go with Robert. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Michael.
What can I do for you?
I have a iPhone 5S. My upgrade comes September 14th.
Okay.
My only understanding of renewing upgrade is paying the $200, getting the model phone I want, and then buying the 2 gigabit plan. But I understand that it's not going to work that way anymore. Is that correct?
All right. With Verizon, they no longer modify your plan or require you to be in a specific plan for a specific phone anymore. So if you have an existing data plan, you can now go through the upgrade process without losing your existing data plan.
Will I be able to pay $200 for the phone and own it outright?
Not with the new iPhone, no.
Yeah, that's baked into your monthly payment.
Right. So now it's part of the payment. Right. You can drop $700 and buy the phone, which is about how much the iPhones cost. It's about $750 to just own it outright. However, the requirement to do so is sort of lessened now, at least for me, from my perspective. The only reason I used to do that is because I didn't want them to modify my unlimited plan. And if I upgraded or participated in any financed phone, that I had to change my data plan, and that's no longer the case. So now you can upgrade, you can just pay the monthly fee and keep whatever data plan that you have. Now, if that's not useful to you, if you want to stay out of the contract, because that puts you into a contract,
that's no problem.
If you want to stay out of the contract, then you have to do what they call full retail for the phone, which for an iPhone is around $700.
Well, how much is this going to... I pay $69 with insurance for 2 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So how much more is my monthly payment going to go up with the baking of the new phone into the payment?
In most cases I've seen, your payment would probably actually go down a little bit. The monthly is cheaper on their new way of doing things. They give you a discount for going through their system there.
Okay. And then the 7 is different from the 6S significantly, and I should just get the 7?
There are effectively no differences between iPhones and at any point. Right? Almost all iPhones are identical, with the exception of some minor aesthetic changes. So the 7 has a much better processor, so it's faster.
Right.
So that may be worth it. I think personally, I didn't like the 6 generations. I thought that both of the sizes of their 6 phones were wrong. I thought the 6 was too small and the 6 Plus was too big.
Yeah.
And I think that the 7 is sort of an average between the two, which is decent. And the only other thing that I wouldn't be able to use, I can't use an iPhone for what I do, mainly because you can't do data and voice at the same time on most iPhones. There's a way to make that work, but by default you can't. And I also use the headphone port a lot, which there is no headphone port on the 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're expecting you
to your earbuds in there and.
Nope, they want you to use Bluetooth now.
Or the new USB connector.
Right, or use an adapter that connects to USB.
So perhaps that could be a reason to have the 6S?
It could be. I personally, I just go with the newer one. I mean, the adapter works pretty well from what I understand, and you can get Bluetooth.
Most likely, though, since Apple's doing it, it's going to be like an $80 adapter.
They'll be aftermarket ones you can get.
All right, so
Truthfully, go down to the Apple Store and start playing with them. That's really what I tell people to do.
It's always the best way.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Go get some hands-on time with this device that you're thinking about investing in.
This thing releases on the 14th?
I'm not sure of the exact date, but I know it's really soon.
Well, let's take an arbitrary date of the 14th.
You're going to be able to...
Verizon will be swamped for how long with people doing this?
Probably a couple weeks.
Yeah, at least a couple of weeks, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you get some hands-on time, let's say you go down and you start playing with the 6, right, to see whether or not how you feel about it, and you can talk to them about the 7 features. They might even have a demo 7 there. I'm not sure if they do or not.
Okay.
The other option that you can do is you can just order over the phone through the automated system with Verizon, and then it'll just show up in the mail. You don't have to worry about dealing with crowds at all.
It looks like the release date is the 23rd of September.
So I can discuss what my plan price will be over the phone and then order the phone over the phone?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't like people, so I tend to do things over the phone a lot. So
I don't like people either. I have a twin brother. I tell him my name is Jose, and if they speak to me in public, I tell them you must be thinking of Hose B.
Thanks for the call, Robert. Appreciate it.
See you later.
Welcome to the Computer Guru Show, where we don't like people.
That's right. Where we'll treat you like a person, but we don't necessarily like people. I don't like crowds, is really what it is. I'm not into the whole crowd thing. And especially because the way my mind works with efficiency, like if I walk into a Verizon store, there's no rhyme or reason to how that store is laid out. And it's you got a whole bunch of people that are effectively doing nothing as far as employees are concerned, and I need a queue, right? I need a line, right, where I can just get in there and be like, okay, I'm next. I know it. I know how many people are in front of me, and I mean business. I want to get in here and buy something and get out. I don't want to meander your store.
30 cash registers, but only one is open.
All right, Verizon. All right, so, let's go ahead and do the break. Let's go ahead and do the break, and then we can get into the fake Microsoft call, which just made me laugh. I thought it was great.
It's fantastic.
790-2040 if you want to be part of the show.
Whether you're dealing with hardware installation or, heaven forbid, a virus,
No!
Mike Swanson is answering all your questions one by one. So call in or chat in with yours. The website, gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030 KVOY The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOI The Voice.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show. My name's Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. This particular segment of the Computer Guru Show brought to you by Computer Guru, right? Because I'm paying for this segment. That's what I'm doing.
And energy drinks and caffeine.
And Kirkland water. Only the best that we've got around here. It's actually good water.
Don't be ripping on Costco, man.
Costco's, I'll tell you right now, the deli section, the whole meats section at Costco, you want the best steaks in town for relatively cheap. Costco.
They have pretty good pizza, too.
If you hear us right now, Costco, this could be an actual sponsored segment.
Right.
Just saying.
Costco could be paying for this segment, but they're not, unfortunately. Now I'm going to cry. So you've heard us talk about the Microsoft won't call you bit before.
So if someone from Microsoft calls you, it's not them.
Yeah, it's not Microsoft. Oh, by the way, if you call, we've had a few people say in the last couple of weeks, I called Microsoft because this thing popped up on my screen saying I needed to call. Nope. That's not how that works.
Also not Microsoft.
Also not Microsoft. So one guy decided that he was going to take things into... His parents called him, freaked out, because Microsoft had called them. And, air quotes, Microsoft had called them, because it's not really Microsoft. So not Microsoft called them. And we're running through the normal spiel where, they want to charge you $200 to fix your computer.
Because it's infected and it's spewing out malware.
Yeah, we're Microsoft. We're, quote, not Microsoft. And we have noticed that your computer is infected and we need to fix it. And so they did the right thing. They were like, you'll have to call us back. So they hung up, called their kid who was tech savvy. And so the kid came over and he was just like, okay, so let's deal with this phone call, and called Microsoft, not Microsoft back, and they went through their normal process, and he played dumb, and then they ended up transferring him to a second level tech, because this is just terrible. This is just the worst infection they've ever seen, and instead of $200, it was now $300 for the fix. So there are some websites where you can generate real credit card numbers that will not go through, but they'll pass the check. as far as this is a real number. So he gave them one of these numbers and kept repeating it 10 or 15 times. And the guy was like, well, I don't know why it's not going through. And he goes, how about I just take a picture of my credit card and send it to you, and then you can enter it yourself. And so he took a picture of a credit card, an expired credit card, but it was infected with the Locky virus. So he went and grabbed one out of his email. And now if you don't know what the Locky virus is, it's one of those encryptors where it encrypts everything on your computer and locks you out unless you pay them a lot of money to get your data back. And so he just grabbed a snippet out of his email of, because you get these in your email all the time. And so he just forwarded it on to this not Microsoft guy and said, well, here's my credit card. You go ahead and run it yourself. And got them infected. And I think that is beautiful. Now, it's technically against the law what he did.
I wonder if Microsoft called them to let them know they were infected.
Nope, because Microsoft won't call you and won't even call them. But I love the justice involved with this here. It's just like, okay. Because, I mess with those guys a lot. I used to do a lot more when I had more time, but I have a bunch of virtual machines on my computer, and so when Microsoft calls, I can give them a nice clean environment to go into, and they can break anything they want, and it won't hurt anything. But I love wasting their time. It's one of my favorite things to do, other than tease them without them knowing it. But it's if you have the opportunity to. Well, first of all, if Microsoft calls you, it's not Microsoft. It's totally not. And even if you're calling, unfortunately, like let's say that your antivirus, legitimate antivirus on your computer, and it has some sort of a technical issue, you're making a call when you call support to an outsourced third party, like multi-roofed support. Right? So they support not only that antivirus, but about 12 other things. And they want to get you on their plan also. So really, if you have support, I'm going to be shameless. If you need support, you call me. That's how this works. One, I speak English really well. Secondly, I'm not going to try to get you into some sort of plan that's going to hurt you. And it's just that whole thing just bothers me that you can't call support and get real support. You guys are awfully silent.
I'm just basking in the glory that is that guy infecting those guys. That's brilliant.
I love it.
I think another important thing to note here, though, is that just like if you get a zip file in your email, don't just download images unless you know exactly who it's from, because it could be just as
even if you do know who it's from, just don't open zip files.
No, I mean the images, because you can infect images as well.
Yeah, that's called silver lining.
Yeah,
and that's old school. Most antivirus will catch that. So if you really just don't open zip files. If you get a zip file, don't open it. Just delete it immediately.
That's such an inconvenience too, because it would be so nice to be able to just send someone a zip file.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yep, but you can't.
Nope. So yeah, the whole idea of I guess what really needs to happen is there needs to be better detection inside of archives. And the problem is that most of the stuff is not really infections. The newest trick that I've been seeing a lot is that they'll send you a link, and it links you to a Google Drive or a Dropbox file, which is this zip, which has the infection. So, yeah, you got to be careful with the stuff that you open.
Just like you're not supposed to press giant green buttons on the internet, you got to be careful with your attachments and downloads.
Now, we used to do training for this. We used to do like internet safety classes. Like, this is the stuff you do click on. This is the stuff you don't click on. This is how you can verify whether or not things are safe or not. And we haven't done those in a long time. Now, I'm trying to work some sort of a deal with New Horizons where you can get real training from like people who are good at training rather than me, right?
Just going, don't click green buttons.
That's right.
End of class.
Rather than me yelling at you for 2 hours like, what are you clicking on? Because my training classes are sort of like, when your dad was teaching you to drive, right? He's the one that disapproving in the passenger seat. That was me doing training.
Just shaming you.
Shaming you into not doing it. I can't believe you clicked on that. You deserve it. I'm just kidding.
Get out of my class.
Get out.
Get out!
I did exactly what you told me.
So we're working on doing something like that. And then also in the back of my mind, I want to do an Unleashed soon, where we can do the show remote, and then you can stick around and ask any questions you want. So if there's any support for that, let us know. You can either leave us a message on any of the social media, call in, or send us an email and let us know if you're down for that type of thing, and we'll put everything in motion. Just because
I like doing those.
Those
were fun.
They're fun, but they're a lot of work.
Yeah.
To set up. So
I feel I can roll my eyes less when we're being observed.
that's right. There's less eyeball exercise. There's calisthenics of your eyeballs. All right, so the NSA is going to get some love here in the next segment. Let's do a break early, just so there's enough time for this. Start some music, Kent. Do your thing. That's not bad. All right, I can live with this.
He's keeping it on a leash this time.
790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. We'll be right back.
Doing all right. A little driving on a Saturday night. Come walk me.
Computer troubles? Need some advice? Call in now. Mike Swanson will be back after these messages. The Computer Guru Show, AM 1030, KVOY, The Voice.
I'm nerdy in the extreme and whiter than sour cream. I was in a V club and glee club and even the chess team. Only question I ever thought was hard, what do I like, Kirk or do I like Picard? Spend every weekend at the Renaissance Fair, got my name on my underwear. They see me strolling.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show, 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. Back to the calls. Let's start with Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Oh, yes. Well, I might need an old codger. We have some old operating systems, some books, Microsoft version 3.1, Lotus 123, release 3.1, release 5, et cetera, et cetera. Some others are nice and three-ring binders, version for the disk operating system. I don't know what to do with these now. I hate to toss them. Can you make any suggestion?
Is there a Tucson chapter of the Smithsonian?
Yeah, so the Windows 3.1 is, there's nobody that's going to really have any use in those. I mean, if they're in good shape, then somebody might want them for nostalgia purposes, but nobody's going to get any real learning out of them.
Other than that, you might want to use them for Tinder.
That's not nice.
They're very, very old.
Look at Tara being the mean one today.
I'm just saying, that's 3.1.
Yeah, 3.1 is
Well, that's before your time.
I used it.
Yeah, but I was on
before my time for sure.
Yeah, you weren't even.
Lotus was around before you know what. So,
were you even alive when 3.1 was out, Rob?
What year did it release?
Oh,
I was born in 1991, so probably not.
Oh, good heavens.
Yeah, it's before you. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, unfortunately, there's not going to be, other than maybe putting them up on, like Craigslist or something where somebody might want to eBay for nostalgia purposes, or reference pieces maybe. But I don't think you're going to find anybody that has any real use for those.
If you can't sell them, you can also list them on FreeCycle, which is it's like Craigslist but for free stuff. And somebody who might be interested in coming and taking them off your hands.
Right. I mean, they're nice. They're useful. They were useful at one time.
Right. One time they were. Unfortunately, that's not now.
Well, we have the computers, too, so...
Wow.
Those actually might be worth something.
Yeah, if you've got working 3.1 machines,
yeah,
there is some value in those.
You can definitely sell those on eBay.
Yeah, people on eBay will snatch those up immediately.
You could then couple it up with the book.
Yep, sell it with the book.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, because it came out April 6, 1992.
I was alive.
We have other cool things, too, so... And 3.1, 4.1, old Pentium machine.
Yeah, like I said, there's people who want those old machines.
Mm-hmm.
There's a market for them. Unfortunately, not me. I'm just trying to get rid of old machines. That's what I try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, they end up in the recycling.
Well, once they get to a certain age, though, like a 3.1 machine, like people really collect those.
Yeah, I started making my own like technology museum at one point, where I was collecting all these really old machines, because I wanted to have something where when people were at the shop, they could be like, we can show you the lineage.
With the green print.
Yeah, with the old green screens or the amber screens, which is the ones that I was more used to.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that. I mean, if you're talking like on a donation basis with a working 3.1 machine, I would be happy to put one of those on display.
Oh yeah, we'll play text-based RPGs on there.
But as far as somebody who might have a real use for it in sort of a productive manner, I can't really think of anything there.
Well, some kind of usefulness. Even museum is useful, or libraries are useful.
Oh, well, bring it down. I'll set one up and we'll put it on display.
I'm going to have to pull the hard drives out of these, of course.
All right. Well, we can clean them for you if you need to. So that's one of the options that we offer there.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thanks for the help.
All right. Thanks for the call. Let's talk to Charlie. Hello, Charlie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Mike. I had a question for you. Every once in a while, we'll get a virus thing on my wife's computer, and we don't know much about it, and they'll give us a number to call. And before you know it, Mike, they're just wanting a bunch of money. They hardly speak any English, and we just end up hanging up on them. I guess my question to you is, how do we get a hold of you, and is that something you could help us out with if it ever happens again?
Absolutely something I can help you with.
It's very irritating for older people like this. They get very intimidating. You know, we want this much money and that much money, and good gosh. So,
it's totally not radio friendly, but there are some examples of those people really being intimidating and forceful. And,
oh boy!
And then there's really some interesting examples if you decide to be personally offensive to them, they lose their minds. It's comedy gold. But so anyway, yeah, you can get a hold of me if you want. You can call the office at 304-8300. 304-8300.
Okay.
And we're happy to help you with that type of stuff. That's what we do.
Yeah, because like I say, when it happens, it's happened to us a couple times. And one time when she was out of the town, it shut her computer thing down. And the person was very, very rude. And finally, when I just hung up on them, I just rebooted everything up, let it sit a while, and everything was fine. So I thought it must be just like a scam or something.
It is definitely a scam, by the way.
Okay.
So
perfect. And your name is Mike.
My name is Mike, right.
Perfect. We got your number, and we have problems again, we'll give you a shout. Like listening to you.
Appreciate the call, Charlie, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
I was going to ask, regarding the previous caller, what kind of interface does a hard drive from a 3.1 machine
It's
have?
RLL. So before, right now that SATA is the sort of standard, and then before that's IDE, before that RLL. And it's 2 cables instead of 1. It works much like floppy drives.
That's kind of what I was alluding to there.
It's very akin to the really old floppy drives where you have 2 different cables, and its cable position determines whether or not it's a primary or secondary drive.
Oh yeah, like slave and master with IDE.
Yeah. So the old school 3.1 machines, I would love to see 3.1 because I haven't messed with 3.1 in 15 years. It's been a really long time, maybe 20 years. But that was one of the first operating systems where I really found myself interested in networks when 3.1.1 came out, because it was Windows for workgroups.
Somebody recently got 95 running in the browser.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. And it was all HTML5, right?
Yeah. And jQuery.
Yeah.
And if anyone's interested and they have older computer components, there's something called the Computer History Museum.
Right.
You can find it at computerhistory.org and then /artifact donation. They have a whole wish list of stuff and then some unneeded items that they have too many of. But if you want to donate your items to them, I'm sure they'd love it.
If you happen to have an Apple II lying around, though, those are worthless. Just donate those to us. I'm just kidding. They're worth like $25,000.
Oh, we killed them all? We did. I thought, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
No more breaks?
Yeah, because I'm used to being like...
Well, we did the early one.
We did the early one. That's what it was.
I can play some tunes or...
No. Okay. I just want to make sure we're not missing a break.
Nope, we're good, man.
Make people unhappy.
Nope, we are good.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the NSA for a second. Just because we're going to go ahead and throw this out there. And there's a certain amount, Rob has a certain amount of burnout on the NSA stuff.
I mean, it's almost beyond the point of being surprised anymore.
Yeah, I can agree with you with that, right?
That's sad, because Every story, if it was taken out of context and individually, would be insane.
Right, but you get so used to hearing about how the government's been lying to you.
People are like, yeah, what else is new?
It's getting to the point where it's just like, that's what we expected. Oh, by the way, have you seen the DNC lately? It's as far as... Sorry. Anyway, so one of the things, one of the very first Snowden leaks was talking about some tools that are used by the NSA to infiltrate networks and infect machines and to get information. And a lot of people were like, yeah, that's fairy tale. That's not really what happens. Even the government themselves denied it and said, yeah, we don't have that technology. Well, it turns out that somebody else decided to break into the NSA and leak a bunch of information and using their own tools against them. And basically, upon inspection, it's panning out that everything that he was saying about those tools was correct. And I know, it's shocking, right? It's just...
I just mean, how long, until it just becomes too much? What's the final straw? Because we've already seen, 1984 was, a long time ago already.
Right.
In terms of their power and authority.
I really don't get it.
If you would have told people 20 years ago the reach and might that the NSA would have, they would be like, no, there will be a revolution before that happens.
Right. There are constitutional provisions that don't allow this to happen. But
turns out the NSA is like, lol, Constitution, and then just rips it up.
Right. And there's a certain amount of truth to that. I think that what you're going to end up seeing, though, is that you're going to see an issue-based election. Not this one, of course, because that's impossible. Mm-hmm. But this will be an election that's based on the issues of digital privacy, security, and rights, right? As far as our digital selves are just as much important or just as deserving of rights as our physical selves, right? Because it's just a manifestation of ourselves. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that works out.
I think before that happens, though, we're going to have to see if, New Horizons can give some internet courses to, Congress.
Right. We'll see if we can work that out.
Can we get another hour just for politics?
Yeah.
Because I got some things to say.
I'm out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't do politics.
You can't.
I could. I just don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't really do it either.
I'm very middle of the road.
For the most part. I try to be neutral. But whenever you start stepping on the Constitution, I get all bent out of shape about it.
And I don't like angry people. And just politics makes people angry all times.
It does.
Or angry people make politics.
Both. That's the problem.
Very meta, sir. Very meta.
So deep.
Okay. So we want to give you an opportunity to help us keep the show on the air. You can do so by going to gurushow.com/Patreon or just going to gurushow.com, and there's links there where you can donate a little bit of money to help us. You can also help us out by subscribing or liking the videos on our YouTube channel, because that's we've got plans for the YouTube stuff. It requires some patience and a whole bunch of subscriptions and upvotes there. Let's go ahead and squeeze Matthew in. Hello, Matthew. You got a minute.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. As a former soldier and officer, the NSA is out using these tools outside the United States, and that's where the Constitution is. The Constitution only applies to United States boundaries and to the citizens, U.S. citizens within. That is their job. They need these tools.
And I totally agree. I'm not even saying that the NSA shouldn't have these tools. What I'm saying is that the most recent leaks show that there is code that is used in those tools that have been found domestically. And that's my problem with it, whenever you're dealing with domestics. And I want them to have that power outside. But
I just wanted to add that little part.
Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Computer Guru Show. We'll talk more next week, of course, right here on 1030 KVOI. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Computer Guru Show. If you did, please consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Your subscription helps us reach new audiences and expand the show in new directions. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help the Computer Guru Show expand into a longer format, as well as support the production of new content for this channel. Links are in the description below, and thank you again. We'll see you next week.